Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into some stories that are genuinely unsettling. These aren't just campfire tales, they're real experiences that honestly left people deeply shaken. We're looking at 5 true stories from across the U.S., each one abrush with something unknown or just deeply disturbing.
Exactly. And what's interesting is how these stories really show vulnerability cropping up in unexpected ways. And, how much intuition, or maybe ignoring that intuition, can really matter.
Absolutely. So let's get straight into it. Our first one, it takes us to Wisconsin. It's about these 2 teenage friends just exploring, like teens do, right? They find this abandoned, rundown 2-story house near Madison, and the front door, surprisingly, it's unlocked. So they go in, immediately they get hit with this horrible stale smell, the kind. And no power inside, totally dark. But then the living room, this is where it gets really weird. There's a brand new video camera set up on a tripod, just pointing at a wall. And the floor right in front of it, covered in sheets, all the furniture draped in plastic. I mean, think about that. This modern camera, pristine, in this completely decayed house, it just screamed wrong.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
That kind of scene, it just sends up immediate red flags. It's not random. It feels incredibly deliberate, almost staged. Points to something sinister being planned, I think.
Yeah, staged is the word. And then it escalates. Suddenly, they hear the back door lock click. Then terrifying sounds from upstairs, creaking floorboards, like really loud, and muffled whispers coming down the stairs. It didn't sound like one person, they said, more like 4 or 5 people rushing towards them. So they panic, obviously, scramble for the front door. They barely make it out. And as they burst outside, they see this man. He was trying to lock the front door too, trying to trap them inside. Terrifying. They run, get the police involved later. But here's the kicker. The police search the house, top to bottom, and completely empty. No camera, no tripod, no sheets, no plastic, nothing. Like it never happened. The house was torn down not long after.
Which leaves you with so many questions, right? What was that set up for? What was the intention? And chillingly, what if he had locked that front door a few seconds earlier? It really makes you think about the hidden dangers that might be lurking, places you think are just empty or forgotten.
A truly unsettling thought. Okay, moving from the possibly paranormal, maybe, to something very real and humanly monstrous. This next one takes us to Anchorage, Alaska, late 70s, maybe early 80s. It's a true crime account focusing on a woman working as a bartender. At a gentleman's club, there was this regular customer, described as polite, friendly, but kind of shy, had acne scars, wore glasses, known for being the best tipper, which, can make someone seem trustworthy, familiar. Then one night, he asks her to a huge birthday party at his place. Says he'll give her a ride.
And this is where her intuition really comes into play. Something just felt off. This quiet, nerdy guy throwing a massive party. It didn't quite add up for her. Plus, and this is crucial, several women from exotic clubs in the area had recently gone missing. That background context, combined with her gut feeling.
Yeah, she listened to that feeling, politely turned him down. Smart move. Because years later, she's watching TV and she sees him, that same shy, polite man, identified as Robert Hansen, now infamous as the Butcher Baker, a notorious serial killer. Hansen's crimes were just horrific. He abducted at least 17 women, flew them out to his remote cabin in the Matanuska Valley, and then he'd release them only to literally hunt them down with a rifle and a knife. Like a sport. He kept their jewelry as trophies. The bartender. She was absolutely certain that invitation wasn't for a party. He was planning to make her another victim in his sick game of life and death.
A truly narrow escape, entirely down to trusting that inner voice.
And it just underscores the danger. You hear about disappearances in Alaska, the rate is unsettlingly high. It's a stark reminder.
The vastness, the isolation, it can unfortunately be exploited.
Okay, let's shift again. From the human predator to something else entirely. We're going to Namac, Idaho. This story comes from one of 3 friends, let's call them the narrator, John and Tom, who are at a remote lakeside cabin for the weekend. Picture this. It's late, around 11 p.m. They're relaxing, and then everything just goes silent, like unnaturally silent. No wind, no rustling leaves, no animal sounds. Nothing. The narrator described it as an eerie silence where the nothingness felt like something horrible. Then suddenly this huge splash breaks silence, loud, like something massive falling into the lake from way up high. They rush outside to look, but the lake is perfectly still, like glass, no ripples, nothing to explain that huge sound. But then they see him floating in the still water, face down, arms kind of spread out, a large body, looking exactly like a waterlogged corpse.
Wow. Okay, so the immediate contradiction there, this huge splash, but then perfectly still water, that alone is incredibly disorienting. And finding a body like that in such a remote spot, seemingly appearing out of nowhere, The fear and confusion must have been overwhelming. Psychologically, that kind of impossibility is deeply unsettling.
Totally. So John, one of the friends, reacts instinctively. He runs down to the dock, maybe to try and pull the body out or just get a closer look. As he reaches the edge of the dock, he lets out this blood-curdling scream, just pure terror. Then he scrambles back, yelling at them, "Get inside, now, get back inside." His tone, the narrator said, was utterly serious, utterly terrified, changed everything. So they all retreat inside, lock the doors. Police eventually arrive. They search the area. Divers go into the lake. They find absolutely nothing. No body, no footprints, no tire tracks, no sign anyone else was ever there. Vanished.
So officially, nothing happened. But John saw something.
Exactly. And later, much later, John privately tells the narrator what happened on that dock, why he screamed. He said as he leaned down to look closer at the floating body, its head slowly turned up out of the water to look right at him. Its hand shot out, grabbed his arm, and its face. He said it was charred black, eyes milky white. And it spoke. It uttered this bizarre phrase, "Why you not tall?"
Oh my God, that detail. Why you not tall?
It's so specific, so nonsensical, it makes it even more chilling than just a silent monster. That's pure nightmare fuel.
Absolutely. And needless to say, the narrator mentioned they never ever went back to that cabin. I wouldn't either.
No argument here. That kind of personal, bizarre encounter with something inexplicable, it stays with you. Okay, let's move to the open road now. Northern California. This involves a couple out on a photography trip. They get lost, end up on some remote road miles from anywhere they recognize. Then this old, beat-up, rusty pickup truck pulls up. Out gets this tall, bearded guy. Kind of cowboy-looking, the source said. And he apparently reeked of alcohol. He immediately starts insisting they get in his truck, says their destination is just up yonder in these hills, no more than a couple of miles, offers to drive them. But he's aggressive about it, really pushy. Repeating, "Get in, come on, I'll take you, get in." Over and over.
Right, that insistence, the aggression masked as help, it's a huge warning sign. And again, we see intuition playing a key role. The woman, she instantly felt something was wrong. Just bad vibes, as she put it. Knew they couldn't trust him. Her boyfriend, though, was apparently closer to actually considering it, maybe just wanting to get unlost. It shows how differently people can read those signals or how desperation can cloud judgment.
Thankfully, she acted fast. She reaches over, locks the car doors, and just yells at her boyfriend, "Floor it! Go!" He hits the gas, they speed off, leaving the guy standing there. And as they're driving away, they hear him shout after them, something truly chilling. Oh, he made the right choice, followed by this loud, cackling laugh.
Wow. That confirms everything, doesn't it?
Totally. And get this. They later figure out where they actually needed to go. It was 20 miles away, in the complete opposite direction from where he pointed, up yonder in these hills.
So he wasn't helping. He was trying to lure them somewhere else entirely. That final comment, he made the right choice, and the laugh. It speaks volumes about his intent, almost like it was a game to him.
Makes your skin crawl, thinking about what might have happened if they'd gotten in that truck.
A definite close call. Trusting that gut feeling was critical there.
Okay, for our final story, we're heading to semi-rural East Tennessee. This one's a bit different. It's about how a horrific, true event morphed into a local urban legend, the legend of Skinned Tom. Apparently, locally, he's kind of like their own Freddy Krueger, a boogeyman figure. But the story starts with a real tragedy. Tom was supposedly a handsome guy back in the day, maybe the 1920s or so. He got involved with a married woman. Her husband found out. And he didn't just get angry. He planned a truly brutal revenge. The story goes, the husband pretended to leave town on a trip, but instead he hid out in the woods near their home. He watched, followed Tom and his wife when they went out to a local lover's lane, and there he ambushed them. It's gruesome, but the legend says he killed his wife first, brutally. Then he dragged Tom, despite his pleas, deep in the forest, and with a hunting knife, he skinned him alive.
It's incredibly brutal. And what's fascinating from a sociological perspective is how an event that horrific gets absorbed into the community's folklore. It becomes more than just a crime story. It serves as this really stark cautionary tale, about infidelity, about revenge, about danger in isolated places. It's how the community processes and remembers trauma.
Right. And the details that follow fuel the legend. The husband apparently turned himself in afterwards. Police went to the scene. They found, the legend says they found a whole body's worth of human skin hanging from a tree branch. Just horrific. But Tom's actual body and that hunting knife used, never found. Gone.
And that absence, that lack of closure, the missing body, the missing weapon, the perfect fuel for a legend, it leaves room for the supernatural, for the story to grow.
Exactly. So this horrific event gives birth to the ghost story, the urban legends. People started reporting sightings, seeing a figure in the woods near Lover's Lane described as a bloody skeleton in 1920s clothing carrying the very knife he was supposedly skinned with, haunting the area. And even today, the local warning persists, passed down to teenagers. Don't go to Lover's Lane if you don't want to be Skin Tom's next victim.
It really shows the power of these stories. It's become embedded in the local culture, a genuine warning rooted in that initial horror. It shapes behavior, even generations later. A living legend, really.
It really is. These stories, all of them, they just remind you how thin that line can be between, normal everyday life and something truly terrifying. The real world can be stranger and scarier than any fiction. So thinking about all these accounts, what is it that makes these true stories hit so much harder than made-up ones? Is it the fact that they really happened, the unanswered questions maybe? Or is it just seeing those dark corners of what people are capable of, or what strange things exist out there? Something to definitely think about.
The "it could happen to you" factor is powerful.
Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive into some pretty unsettling truths. Thank you for joining us. And hey, if these stories gave you chills and you appreciate digging into these kinds of dark accounts, please do us a solid. Head over to our channel, Horror Docx. Hit that like button. Maybe share this deep dive with a friend who likes a good scare mixed with some analysis. And definitely subscribe so you don't miss our next exploration into the unknown. We'll see you next time.